I think it depends on the audience. I don't feel in general that it does, but I do think there are certain audiences and demographics for whom traditional advertising is still extremely relevant. You know, those who perhaps have access to terrestrial television but don't have access to a smartphone. You know, for them, traditional advertising is still something that plays a big part in their lives. It's also the most effective way to reach them in many respects. But I do feel that consumers have been spoilt. That we've been spoilt by, you know, the diversity and sheer creativity of modern marketing, you know, and modern integrated communications. And it's to the extent that you might watch a really emotive television commercial, and it won't be as impactful as it might have been 10 years ago, because you've seen what you know, for instance, a brand has done on YouTube using you know, an annotated video that offers you two parallel kind of narratives, and you can chop and change between the two. It's inevitable once you've been exposed to that kind of creativity and that kind of ingenuity, that got stock standard sort of TV ad, no matter how creative it is in its concept, it isn't going to have the same impact as it might have in years gone by. I think there is benefits to be found in traditional advertising and you know, big budget traditional media. You know, as mentioned, if you're targeting a specific demographic or an audience who don't have access to the likes of, you know, social media, they don't have smartphones, it might be one of your only means to actually get in touch with that audience and effectively communicate with them. It is also obviously dependent on pricing. You know, digital media is still, traditional media is still very expensive in relation to digital media, and I imagine that, you know, over time those prices will decline, given the competition from other mediums. And as the prices decrease, it obviously makes those channels more viable, especially if you're looking at an integrated strategy where you aren't just reliant on a television commercial or a print ad, and you're considering you know, how other mediums might dovetail with your traditional channels. Largely, traditional media isn't measurable. There are things you can look at. For instance, you could look at your media schedule in relation to your analytics. So, if you're measuring your website traffic or your say coverage on social media, you can pinpoint you know, say points of uplift that correspond to when you actually ran a TVC or when you were featured on the radio, and in that way you can get some kind of sense of the efficacy of your efforts. It's still not measurable in the way that digital media is, but it's a lot better than looking at things like, you know, like GRP or more traditional forms of measurement. You can at least kind of start to determine which time slots, for instance, are more effective than others.